everybody, it's Cannan.
It's Jessie.
And we are the Geeky Sane couple. And today we decided, with the trailer for Volume 8 coming out, why stop the RWBY hype train there? And I've always noticed, like, on Twitter, people will make these threads, and it's like, you know, your top favorite things in RWBY, like favorite character, favorite semblance, favorite weapon, favorite villain. And I was like, you know what? Instead of doing just that on Twitter, why not do it in a video form? So today you're going to learn what our favorite things in RWBY are, between our favorite characters, favorite weapons, favorite semblances, favorite fights, favorite songs, all that good stuff. Now this probably will be the last RWBY video we do until the Volume 8 premiere. That, you know, we'll be doing our reactions again, we'll be doing our analysis videos, unless unless a voice actor or actress drops like a bombshell at a panel or something. You probably won't, you know, Volume 8 will be our next big RWBY video. So we're going to start this. I've got a huge list here. We're not going to try and last forever on these. We're trying to make this video as short as possible. But just remember, subscribe, notification bell, like button, share it around your friends, leave a comment. Likes and comments help a lot, guys. Once again, we're almost to 300 subscribers, so please help us hit that here very soon, because November is going to be our 1 year. So let's get started with both mine and Jess's top 5 favorite characters in RWBY. So first, we're going to start with Jess's top 5. We're going to start from number 5, go up to number 1. So number 5 for Jess was Pyrrha Nikos. And I'll never forget when Jess started watching RWBY a little bit after me. And it was after Volume 3, and I remember she was like in Volume 1 or Volume 2, and, you know, I asked her, you know, what characters do you like? And she said, I really like Pyrrha. Ooh. And just my reaction, she was like, what? And I was like, do you want me to tell you, or do you want to find out you're on your own? And she told me she just go ahead and tell her, and I had to tell her. I didn't want to. She still cried. But what about Pyrrha appealed to you?
I love her personality. I don't know. That's the first thing I noticed. Just hello again.
that's a lot of people fell in love with Pyrrha because of that.
Just how she doesn't care. Like, she's supposed to be this really famous, well-known person, and she's just like, you know, hello.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Like you, like Jess is kind of like that, in that when we first met, like, if she did, like, it was her reaction to everything was sorry. And I used to be like, stop saying sorry. And she would say sorry right after that. She's not.
If people made memes of this, not of me, but in general, it's just, stop saying that. Sorry.
And so pretty much it's kind of like how everyone else fell in love with Pyrrha, just because she was such a sweet character. Number 4, this is going to be controversial. Raven Bronwyn.
I can't help but love Raven. Like, she's pretty badass to begin with. Plus, I mean,
she's a hot mom.
That too.
She's not a great mom, but
no. But I mean, I also see some people out that really don't like her at all or hate her. I've just seen past that. There's more to it, and we've seen hints of that. I mean, that, you know,
at the end of Volume 5.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know, just something about her. I just like her a lot.
Number 3's no shocker. Nora Valkyrie.
Come on, it's Nora.
That's all you gotta say. It's Nora.
That's all you gotta say. It's Nora.
Well, there's a lot of people that find Nora annoying.
Oh,
so
I love Nora. I absolutely adore her.
Number 2, Yang Xiaolong.
Are we shocked? Are we really shocked?
Go ahead and say it. It's because she's gorgeous.
Yes, and I mean, yeah, she was the first one that
really appealed to you, really.
Yes, she's the first one I
cosplayed
as well.
Even though you found yourself being more relatable to Blake.
Yeah, but I still have a special place for Yang, and it's just, she was the first person, and I just remember one of my good friends had asked me, so which character? Which one? And which one stands out to you first? Yang. So she's like, I knew it.
And number one, not a big shocker at all, Blake Belladonna.
I don't think I need to give an explanation for this one.
No, you're pretty much Blake incarnate. Like, if you guys watched our Why is Bumblebee Most Important to Us video, you know that sadly she does relate to Blake in one very dark, disturbing way. But, I mean, you're a huge book nerd.
I'd rather be sitting with my nose in a book than anything else in the world.
And, I mean, you kind
I've read most of my books about 1,000 times.
I will admit, you do kind of have some cat-like ways. Like, if you're tired enough, you nap a lot. You're temperamental. You can get...
Yeah. I've always been told that, like, just...
You don't like me to mess with you when you're comfortable.
Cat-like, in other ways, wolf-like. But wolves are my spirit animal. Well, apparently maybe cats are too.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm, like, half and half.
So moving on to my top 5. Mine and Jess's is kind of almost the same, except one of our characters is different. So number 5 for me is Raven, and the biggest reason is because MILF. No, I'm just playing. Yes, Raven is an awful mom. She's shown not to be, but she's a bandit, so of course she's not exactly a good person.
We also don't know any backstory to everything.
Well,
so I mean,
one of the things that I loved about Raven was the ending of Volume 5. We got to see the real Raven in like a split second. She let her walls down and she finally cried and told Yang she was sorry. So to me, that's the real Raven. Plus, I like characters who have a lot of baggage to them. And like, I guess Raven in a way is kind of like Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. Cold, hard walls around them, when really deep down they are softer people. And Raven, has said she is sorry for how she left Yang. Like she legit
knows,
said.
She knows.
Well, I mean, was she saying sorry to Yang about that, or was she saying sorry because she wasn't going to stick around? I don't know if it
was a lot.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of things.
And the fact that also, I mean, she knows that it's not going to be enough.
Yeah,
like it.
And the fact that she went back to Ty at the end of Volume 5 may show that Raven is more than likely going to have like some sort of redemption, maybe.
I really hope she does. I mean, I know, and I've said it before, you can't really fully repair probably what she's done. You really can't. But,
I mean, Ty might tell her to take a hike. I mean, you never know.
But the thing is, even something between her and Yang.
Yeah.
Even if it's just common ground or something.
What if Yang, like after Blake and Yang get together officially, what if because I feel like they're all going together to fight Salem at some point. What if Yang calls Callie mom in front of Raven? I mean, Yang still calls Raven mom.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I just wonder if it'll just tug it, just actually kill her.
It'd probably hurt her.
Yeah, because in the DC comics, we've seen that Raven does have some sort of... She's, how she was saying how, telling Ruby, how could you compare to Yang and stuff like that. Like, she's kind of got a high opinion of Yang as far as some things go.
Because she knows she's skilled, and we've heard Yang also say before she knew that she could shapeshift pretty much. Yeah. She goes, I've seen that bird before.
Yeah, so Raven has been
watching her.
Yeah.
Like, that was another thing that some people didn't seem to, it didn't click.
Yeah.
Like, it's just... It was a big thing.
we spent too much on Raven.
Hey, I like Raven.
Number 4 for me is a lot of people's favorite character, and one character that a lot of people have said is the most overrated character in RWBY, but that is the lovely Neapolitan. I love anti-heroes because I don't see her as a villain. A little bit of an antagonist, yes, but I don't think Neo ever had a chance at being a better person. Because I think it's been pretty much, in her song One Thing, where it was pretty much stated that, Roman pretty much found her on the streets. And, raised her pretty much to be, part of his crime ring. So, is she a good person? No. But, I don't know,
I've never seen her as a true villain. She reminds me of...
Unless she does something awful, it's here soon. I mean, she was going to stab Yang, but I don't know. I just like Neo. I like her attitude. I like her sass. I love her fighting style.
But in a way, she just... How her character is, it just kind of reminds me of Harley. Harley's now technically an anti-hero. She's not a villain, and she's not
good either.
Guy.
No.
So she's that in between, and that's kind of what made me think, with Neo.
I think Neo and Harley would get along, actually.
I think they would too.
Now, my number 3 is the same as Jess's number 3, and that is Nora Valkyrie. I fell in love with Nora the moment they did the whole RWBY, Yang, Nora. I fell in love with Nora in Volume 1. She's always been one of my favorite non-Team RWBY characters.
One of my little favorite character moments is after that when, or also when Pyrrha just flies in. Oh, good, Gang's all here.
Yeah, but that was Yang that said that.
I know that, but it was around the same moment.
Okay, yeah, that whole moment,
and just Pyrrha just flies in.
Yeah, Team RWBY and Team Juniper, all coming together was one of the better moments of the series. Okay, so number 2 for me, our number 1 and number 2 are switched. My number 2 is Blake Belladonna, and it's mostly because I'm going to be called a simp for this, but out of the main 4, I think I've always found Blake to be the most attractive. I think it's mostly because she reminds me so much of you. I do not kid when I say that I found a real life Blake Belladonna. And it's so funny you cut your hair short around the time that it was revealed that Blake was going to cut her hair.
Not to mention, I do wear cat ears out at random.
Yep, that
I have for years.
Like I already said, she's a bookworm. She's cat-like sometimes with her attitude. And I don't know, I love Blake's story. I know there's some, fans in this fandom that say she's a useless character, but out of all of them, she's went through a lot. I mean, all 4 of them went through a lot, but she's went through some terrible stuff that we have real life experience with, so we connect with her more. And my number 1 is Yang Xiaolong, and that is because I love brawler characters, like in video games or in anime. If like in a video game, if I can pick my class, if there's ever a brawler or martial artist, I usually always pick them. I never pick sword users. I always loved her design, I think Monty once said that she was supposed to be like a steampunk. I know he used steampunk in it.
I can't remember exactly what was said, but yeah, it was something along the lines with that included.
Yeah, like her volume 1 through 3 outfit was kind of like, what have mean people compared her outfit to? I can't remember off the top of my head, but volume 4 through 6, she was kind of like this steampunk cowgirl outfit. And now in volume 7 and 8, she's like this steampunk biker / aviator type girl, because of the bomber jacket and all that, and the overall she's wearing is kind of like a mechanic in a way. I've always loved Yang's design, and I love her character development. She went from volume 1 through 3 of being this happy-go-lucky jokester, but also had
the temper.
The temper and all that. But she also had the backstory of her mom deserting her. But then as the series went on, after she got hurt by Adam and all that, she became more of a brooder in a way.
She started using her head more than actually just getting angry and using her semblance.
Well, I mean, she also became not so smiley. She started being a little bit more broody. Volume 7, she's kind of getting out of that, though she's still kind of... She'll never be the way she was in Volume 1 through 3, but I kind of like her the way she is now. I think broody Yang is as good as laughing and joking Yang. Also, I think that in personality wise I'm the closest to Yang, because you can ask her, she gets so annoyed at how much I joke around, but I also have a bit of a temper, not towards you,
but in general,
it's very easy to get on my last nerve sometimes.
Well, you'd also mentioned that you pick more of a brawler, and it's another reason Blake fits with me, is she's pretty much, it's one weapon, but she dual welds it, and I pick dual weapons a lot with things, especially like Dragon Age Isabella. Her dual blades are absolutely one of my favorite things to use. So
now we're finally out of the characters. Let's move on to favorite RWBY volume. And this one is pretty much unanimous. We both picked Volume 6. Now, no, it is not 100% because of what happened with Bumblebee in that volume, even though that is...
It's part of it, but it's not the main reason.
But, I mean, the whole fight between them and Adam was an amazing fight.
Yeah. The music.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, within the...
Yeah. Yeah. I loved the apathy part, because I am a huge... If you guys have been paying attention to our channel, I am a huge horror fan. So I loved that whole arc. It was so good. It was so creepy. Plus, like, everything we learned in Volume 6. We finally learned about Salem. We learned about Ozpin. It was just such a jam-packed volume. It only took the course of, what, a few days? So, I mean, it was just an amazing volume. How we got to see Summer for the first time.
Yeah.
We saw them go against a gigantic sea monster Grimm that was pretty much Godzilla, pretty much. So, I mean,
what did we name that one? Kevin?
No, it was like Bubbles or something. I don't know.
Which one was Kevin?
I think that was the giant wyvern in Volume 3. I think. I don't know.
I'm trying to keep up with the names that everyone's deciding on for these Grimms.
All right, now let's move on to favorite weapon. Well,
we shouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
I just mentioned it.
Yeah. Jess chose Gamble Shroud.
I absolutely love it. I love the mechanics of it. It also, the transforming thing is another thing for me because of lightning. Anyone that knows me or has even other things that we've talked about, her gunblade in the very first 13, I've spent months over this, just the details of this thing, and it's such a fantastic weapon. So once I saw Gamble, the way that she could use it, pretty much 3 different things: a sword, a gun, or also a blade with a sheath.
Yeah, I always thought it was cool that the sheath was also a weapon as well.
So I loved that. The dual wielding, that's just the big thing for me.
And of course, my favorite weapon is Ember Celica. I think it's one of the coolest pair of gauntlets I've ever seen, because like I said, I love brawler characters. I always just like the thought of a character using their fists and their feet. And I love how, after Volume 3, they kind of made Yang's prosthetic also her second gauntlet, but more so in Volume 7, where it's pretty much her prosthetic with a gauntlet attached to it. So I don't know if they've ever said if it is truly Ember Celica again. But yeah, that's my biggest thing, is that, it's a cool pair of gauntlets, plus they act as shotguns, pretty much. All right, now moving on to favorite semblance. Now, Jess actually has 2. One of them, not really a surprise. The other one, I was actually surprised that she picked. Jess picked Shadow, which is Blake's semblance.
I love, the one thing I loved about that is she pretty much uses all the dust elements with this semblance. So that's the one thing, is I love all the different elements that she could use, and integrate into the shadow clones, pretty much.
Yeah.
She makes of herself.
Yeah, she can make an ice one. She can make a fire one. And the second one you chose was photographic memory, which is Velvet's semblance.
As soon as first time I ever saw Velvet use her semblance, I fell in love with it.
It was a pretty cool sequence when it happened.
You know, like, just being able to, the photos she takes, you know, she's mimicking all the weapons she's ever seen. So she could pretty much a limitless.
She was a big fan of Team RWBY because she used all 4.
Yes. So the fact that she could take anything and weld it as a photographic weapon.
And of course, mine is Burn, which is Yang's semblance. And the reason why I love this semblance is, as a huge Dragon Ball fan, this semblance is pretty much a Super Saiyan. Yang is pretty much the closest Remnant has to a Saiyan. Because think about it, if you've watched Dragon Ball, you know that the more a Saiyan fights, the stronger they become. And the more damage they take, they become stronger. And that's exactly what happens with Yang. The more damage she takes, the stronger she gets. And yeah, she's already blonde. She already has blonde hair. But, like, her hair literally turns on fire. And in some cases, like in Chibi and some artwork, her hair is supposed to actually flare up when it happens. Like, especially in Chibi, she literally does go Super Saiyan. Her hair stands up.
And then the line in the one song.
Yeah, of course, in I Burn it says,
This is the reason why the art that I still share of mine, that I have a print of, I made that. Even Casey actually liked and commented and shared that one.
I wish they would confirm it. I've tried asking, but they never would reply. I really do think Yang's semblance was based off Super Saiyan from Dragon Ball.
I think it was too.
I mean, yeah, and her eyes change as well, not to green, but to red. I mean, and that's why I wish we would see, like, true evolving semblances, like her go through the different colors of flame, like red and blue and all that, and eventually white, because they say white flame is the hottest one. So people would say, oh, she went Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, Ultra Instinct.
It makes me think of the art from Nonsuch.
Yeah.
Which we are still doing at some point, because I loved that.
Now moving on to a more fun one. Favorite RWBY professor. We both picked the same one, and that is Professor Oobleck.
I can't help it. I absolutely love him.
I think the scene that made me fall in love with Oobleck was the one with Zwei.
Yes.
That was,
Fireball Zwei.
well, that, but
too.
also, you know, oh yeah, Fireball Zwei. I love that Zwei, like, just loved him, pretty much. But, like, you know, his whole giving a speech about how useful a dog would be to a huntsman and a huntress. So,
but also,
and RWBY took credit for it, of course. She's like, I'm a genius.
It's clear, though, like, when the whole fighting thing and Zwei wants to just, you know, go with him, it's clear that he knows who he is, and obviously we see in later episodes, or later seasons, when they come to visit Tai, I mean, obviously he knows who he is.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
So, but yeah,
Oobleck's just fun. He's just...
And how sporadic and
I love
runs
the fact,
on coffee.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he's basically a history teacher, and history was my favorite subject in school, so I would love his class. I don't know if I could keep up with him, but...
Yeah, I don't know if I'd probably sit there every day trying to write something like, okay, wait, what? And his weapon. That's a coffee mug.
Yeah, or a thermos.
Thermos.
Yeah. Well, that's crazy. All right, now it's time for favorite RWBY villain. So Jess chose Cinder, which I like Cinder as well.
I mean,
she's gorgeous for one.
Yes.
Even though she's a...
Yeah. But just I mean, I've gotten annoyed with some things with her, but I mean, that means they're doing something correct. So, but just everything about her, everything the build up, you know, she wasn't just defeated. She's still coming back. I mean, we know her time's coming at some point here.
Yeah.
But just, I mean, she's just used power. That we've seen her from the very beginning. Like,
I don't think any villain has ever had as many costume changes as Cinder has.
Yeah, that's another thing. It's just her outfits are adding up.
I feel sorry for Cinder cosplayers, but one thing I think that really gives Cinder her allure is Jessica Nigri's voice acting.
Yes, and I will say she's, you know,
She's got a very alluring voice.
Absolutely perfect for Cinder. So
Yeah.
I mean, just fits.
A lot of people say this as a criticism of the show, is that we don't know really still anything about Cinder, but I kind of like that. I like the mystery. That makes it so much more impactful when we find out. So my favorite villain, because I love villains that I love to hate, and so my favorite RWBY villain or antagonist is Adam. Now, you would think, me being a Bumblebee shipper, that I would absolutely hate Adam. Well, yeah, I do hate Adam. He was a piece of crap. But that just means he was a great villain. You could not wait to see him get it. It's like Frieza in Dragon Ball Z. You could not wait to see Frieza. I know when I first had you watch Dragon Ball, you could not wait for Frieza to go down. She was like, how much longer is this? But yeah, that's the biggest thing I liked about Adam. Yeah, he was a piece of crap. He was an abuser. He was all this, but that just made you could not wait to see him go down. And that's a great villain. So that's why he's my favorite villain. I mean, he was just because he was a good one.
That's another reason why Tyrion is. I want him dead.
Now on to favorite Grimm. And Jess chose, not surprising, the Beowulf.
It's the form of a wolf.
Anything that looks like a dog or a wolf, she falls in love with. But I don't know,
that one's just been, it was just always my favorite so far. I mean,
that's the biggest reason why she likes Marrow, because he's a puppy.
Well, I mean, that's a factor, but it's just, I don't know, that's just one Grimm that I still keep going back to that I liked the most. And I absolutely loved the Chibi version.
Yeah.
That was cute. I'd like to make plushies of that eventually. The facial structure, I'm still figuring out. That's complicated.
Now, my favorite Grimm is, of course, the Apathy, because it was a simple design, but it was creepy as it could be. And it had one of the most scary abilities ever. And that was pretty much drain the life out of you. And that's pretty much it. It was pretty much a great horror monster. And that's what drew me to it. Like I said, I loved the Apathy arc in Volume 6. I just loved it, just because of the horror aspect.
I know there's some people that said that they weren't really impressed, but think about it. I mean, if you came across something like that could, pretty much drain everything, drain your ability to get away.
Well, the thing is,
it's just
something that is simple is far more scary than something that's got an elaborate design. You get way lost in this. If it was a hulking mass or whatever, it would lose its aspect because you were too focused on anything. It having a simple design doesn't distract you a whole lot, so it leaves a lot more to the scary aspect. And the fact that RWBY shot at these things and it didn't even phase it, so that's what was also scary. These things were actually pretty strong as well. All right, now we're going to be moving on to our favorite fights in RWBY. So the first one I've got listed here is Team RWBY versus the Nevermore from Volume 1. And that's because this was really our first real big fight involving all 4 members of Team RWBY. And I mean, it was just, I believe Red Like Roses Part 2 played during most of it. It was just a good kick-ass fight. You got to see, Ruby and Weiss fighting as partners before they were
already forming like a connection as a team before they were actually
and Blake
announced as a team.
And of course, Blake and Yang, having not known each other for very long, were already moving like the well-oiled machine they've become. So I mean, it was just a great, honest fight. And the way they ended it with Ruby decapitating the thing up a mountainside, that was, and then her standing there with the rose petals coming off her cape and all that. That was an awesome sight. Like, it was just so cool. The next one that we picked was Raven versus Cinder from Volume 5.
I loved that fight.
Yeah, as much as people hate Volume 5, this was one of the, to me, this was the first fight where it was like Dragon Ball Z level fighting.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Like, you had, like, the area was shaking. They were zooming all over the place. Like, I don't know. It was just an awesome fight. Like, man, they put most of their budget into this fight. But, you know, it's the first time we also saw Cinder get really, like, yeah, Ruby did damage to her, but we didn't really get to see it. We got to see Raven kick Cinder's ass.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody thought Cinder was done for at that time. Like, well, you know, now what? And I don't know. Like, by the time that fight was over, I was out of breath. I was like, oh my gosh, that was a good fight. And that's pretty much why it's one of my favorites. Just how epic it was, really.
And that's the fight I had to go frame by frame to find details on Raven that you can't see anywhere else.
The next fight, not a huge fight, but it was Yang versus the Bandits in Volume 5. Yeah, I did too, because it's pretty much Yang back out into the field after, you know, being out of commission since the end of Volume 3, all of Volume 4. And, I mean, it was just great to see her.
I loved how she just walked up and just...
Yeah. Yeah, she just simply walked up to them
and just started.
owned to every single one of them. So, yeah, I just like that fight just because of what it meant for Yang. Next, probably one of the most controversial fights in all of RWBY so far, but Blake and Yang versus Adam. I love this fight not only, of course, for the fact that it was Bumblebee versus Adam, which we all knew was coming. I just loved how on the edge of our seat we were watching
and
this.
it's also it had shown how much Yang had grown.
Oh yeah,
from the first time she tried to encounter.
Yeah,
you know, or
she didn't go. Adam. She didn't fly head in first. She was actually thinking with her head.
She thought about it.
The music that plays during it, just the suspense, the fact that throughout the whole entire fight you're watching Adam slowly unravel. It was like
he was coming undone, and they were also on like. It was pretty much a cliff.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it was just a good, suspenseful, emotional fight. Like, it just was. The fight choreography was amazing. It was just a good fight, really. I mean, there's nothing more I can really say. After that, it is Team RWBY versus the Aesops from Volume 7. I loved this fight. A big emphasis, though, on Blake and Yang versus Elman Vine, because once again, they did a very amazing job showing Blake and Yang's teamwork and like the slow motion and all that. It was just a great fight. I really kind of wished we could have seen more of like Weiss versus Marrow and Ruby versus Harriet, but I don't know. I think they were trying to make a point with showing mostly Blake and Yang versus Elman Vine. Like, that was the part of the fight they focused on the most, but it's just such a great fight altogether. Like, we waited all volume because we just had a feeling they're going to go head to head at some point.
yeah.
So it was great to see that.
I did like the one thing with that fight was the one point with between Marrow and Weiss, and grabbed his tail and just looked at her like.
Well, that wasn't during the fight. That was another part. But yeah.
Well, it was during that.
Yeah. So this next fight Jess wanted to add, and that is the very first fight we saw in RWBY, not counting the trailers. RWBY versus Roman and his henchmen, Volume 1, Episode 1.
I just absolutely loved that fight still. Like I said, I know it's you know, very first episode. Like, It has issues. Yes, we all know this. But I don't know. That being the first thing to introduce you into the show, I absolutely loved it. It's
yeah,
and the music, you know, it helped that, and you know, the headphones.
Yeah,
click.
And then we have Team RWBY versus Roman from Volume 2, when he was in the robot thing. Like, now that was a cool fight because for one, we got to see the team attacks.
Yeah,
which were pretty much named after the ship names, except Ice Flower, which, you know.
Yeah.
Also, like, we had seen Yang's Semblance before that, but that was the fight where they really explained it and explained what exactly it was, which was cool. And I don't know, it was like, after Volume 1, we didn't really see a big fight until then, and Roman was such a great villain that it's just a good fight, really. Alright, moving on. Favorite RWBY soundtrack. And once again, this was unanimous. We picked Volume 6. I can't really say much without getting into our next category, but I just really liked almost every single song on Volume 6.
I mean, I've also, like, there's so many songs through all of the volumes that I've absolutely loved. So this was actually hard to, like, really break it down.
Yeah, for me, like, you had the rock-like music like Rising, you had the tearjerker Indomitable, you had the empowering song like Nevermore. Just a great album altogether. I mean, Volume 7 was good. Volume 7 soundtrack was good, but Volume 6 to me just hit a lot more harder. So yeah, Volume 6 soundtrack is our favorite. Moving on, favorite RWBY songs. Now,
we had to cut this list down.
yeah, and we can't go over every single one of them individually because this would be over an hour video, and we're already, well, unedited, we're already nearing 40 minutes. So, I Burn, definitely one of my favorite songs. This Life Is Mine, probably one of the, if not the best Weiss songs in the entire series. Home, just because it's such a heartwarming song that almost makes you cry. Bumble, aka Bumblebee.
Come on.
Yeah, just a really good love song.
It's cute. Like,
yeah. Probably my favorite Yang song, Armed and Ready. This song just gets me pumped every time I listen to it. It is such a hard rocking song. Just great song structure, great message behind it. Just Yang finally, getting out of her pretty much her PTSD depression and trying to be how she was, but stronger. All That Matters, of course. I mean, such a great song about Yang and Blake. The Volume 6 opening, Rising. What else can I... To me, yes, there are a lot of great intro songs. I think
I love every one of them.
Yeah, but Rising just rocked to me. Like, I loved hearing that song every weekend. I listen to it now. It's just such a great, great song. Next, Indomitable. This song, I could not wait to hear the full version of this song when we heard just a little bit of it in Volume 6, because it was already a great song, just for the little that we heard. And of course, when we first all heard it, we thought it was a RWBY song, which technically you can still relate it to RWBY because of, the light that shines, and its power is mine. But it turned out to be a Monty song, and...
when you really listen to it.
Yes, it's pretty much just completely talks about him creating RWBY, and watching Casey react to Unicorn of War's reaction to it, and Casey started crying, and it's just like, people who crap talk Rooster Teeth and keep on bringing up Monty are just pieces of crap, because they're talking like they know this man better than the people who actually worked with him, who still miss him and still cry over him to this day. I cannot listen to this song without at least tearing up each and every time. I can't. I cry.
I love listening to it, but when he'll turn it, like, we'll be driving somewhere and he'll turn on the car and I'm just thinking, hey, I'm gonna start tearing up and I'm driving here. Like.
After that is Nevermore. I mean, there's not much else we can say about that song that's not been said. Just a great song, a great duet song between Blake and Yang. It's an empowering song. It really is. It's a really great song.
That one definitely, with my background, touched me quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Next is the Volume 7 opener, Trust Love. Have to admit, when I first heard it, I wasn't that wild about it, especially comparing it to Rising, but as time went on, I grew to love it. Then finally hearing the full version, I do love the song. I love the meaning behind it. So, I mean, it's a great little song. Touch the Sky from Volume 7, amazing song. I love it. I love the message behind it. Whether it's a Team RWBY song or if it's a Blake song, it works either way. Just a great song. And the last one on this list is Brand New Day from Volume 7. I love the doo-wop old 50s, 60s sound to it. It's such an enjoyable song. And we are now to our final category. Y'all knew this was coming. This is the part where people usually hate people talking about, but hey, we're going to do it anyway. Favorite RWBY ships. Now,
we've done a video talking about stuff like this, but
yeah, I mean,
we had to at least include this.
Yeah, you can't do a favorite RWBY thing without including ships. And yeah, long ago, like back during when Volume 7 was airing, we did our top 8 ships in RWBY. We didn't include Bumblebee in that one because we've done like 3 or 4 Bumblebee videos since then, so we didn't want to include it at the time. And it was mostly crack ships that are in no way going to happen, except Renora, of course. But, you know, ship videos can take on forever, so we only listed 2 in this, and it's pretty much the 2 ships that are actually happening in the show, and this is pretty much unanimous between me and her, and that is Bumblebee and Renora. Renora, no one had a doubt was ever going to happen, because the moment we met Ren and Nora pretty much showed that she had the hots for Ren.
Yeah.
Ren was the only one people were wondering about, like if he really did share the same feelings, because in the earlier volumes it seems like, gosh, Nora was just dragging him all over the place, and
he just kind of like,
yeah, and him being the one to kind of like keep Nora under wraps. It's like, or not under wraps, but like keep her calmed down. It's like
keep her grounded.
Yeah, when they both rode in and Nora ran over to them, and you hear Ren go, "Nora!" And she's like, "Coming, Ren." So yeah, it was like that. But then we got Volume 4, which really started Ren and Nora on the path to becoming canon. Volume 4 to me is where they became semi-canon. And then Volume 7, of course, where they finally kissed.
Oh, I'm never going to forget that moment.
But then at the end of Volume 7, her and Ren are not okay. So we have to see what happens in Volume 8, you know, what they do with them.
Also, touching on what you said from the beginning, how we, you know, just looked like she was just, you know, dragging him along. We didn't really know much, and as we went on, that's when we started really learning that he can't project his emotions the way everyone else seems to. So it kind of clicked a bit. Like,
I mean, plus they're childhood friends, so of course they developed faster than some of the others. The only one that I think was too fast, that I think got kind of rushed in a way, was Arcos, but we've talked about that. I still like Arcos, but I just feel like it was a little cliche. The girl having a crush on the guy not having a single clue. Then by the time he does find out, it's too late. So yeah, I do sometimes feel like Arcos was a little rushed, but it was still a good ship. It was still a good story. So it just makes me wonder where Renora is going to go, because Ren and Nora are secondary main characters. They don't have the plot armor like Team RWBY does, so who knows what's going to happen, because there's a huge theory that all of Team Juniper is going to die. So
I hope not, but
but we'll see. We'll see what happens between them. Apparently, Neith was saying that there's stuff with Ren that we're not ready for. You know, who knows what's going to happen with that. Samantha, she's not said anything about Nora for this volume, so I'll think. I've not seen it anywhere. Now with Bumblebee, of course, I mean, I don't want to turn this into a Bumblebee video, because it seems like anytime you mention Bumblebee, the riots come out. The one thing that I will say about Bumblebee, that I've said before, but it is a good, slow burn romance that's not cliche, it's not in your face, and people complain, oh, we've been waiting for 8 years. Yes, we have waited for 8 years, but guys, it's been, what, 2 years maybe in the show's
something
universe?
like
Maybe not even 2 years. And Blake and Yang only realized how they truly felt about each other in Volume 6. That's only been 1 volume ago. Give them time to learn what they're doing, you know? not every romance is, oh my gosh, I've known you for 5 minutes, I'm in love with you.
Disney.
You know, yeah. So, I mean, come on. Me and her knew each other for how long before we told each other how we felt?
God, I just...
A good 5 years or so?
That was several years. And
Yeah.
I mean, now, like, almost 15 years later,
Yeah.
we've just now been engaged for 2 years.
Yeah, so I mean
it's
not every romance is like that. It takes time, especially
two of
in
our
the...
best friends have been together, are going to be hitting 11 years, so...
And they're not even engaged yet. So... give them time. They're realizing how they feel, but plus put yourselves in their situation. Blake just killed her ex-abusive boyfriend, and Yang is just going through all these kind of emotions that, you know, she's used to being abandoned, and the girl that she's got feelings for left her, but then came back, so now she's adjusting to that. So, I mean, and plus saving the world, you know, all that. So, there is a lot of baggage there. So, you've got to give that time to, you know, essentially grow. Will anything happen in Volume 8? I don't know. You know, they've been really tight-lipped about this volume as far, because it feels like we got a lot more details going into Volume 7 than we did have Volume 8.
Yeah.
As far as story goes.
Though, everyone being at home, it doesn't really help. It makes everything seem so much worse.
Yeah, this has been the longest hiatus I think I've ever went through. I mean, the one between Volume 6 and 7 was long because of all the drama.
Yeah.
But 7 to 8 has been a trek. Like, a lot of us were wondering if Volume 8 was even going to come out this year. But, good thing it is, because, I mean, could you imagine having to wait till next year?
Oh my God.
They'd get a lot done. They would definitely get a lot done.
I don't know how I'd survive we'd have already no cons, and then no RWBY. Like, I wouldn't be able to really deal with myself anymore. Death
and taxes, pretty much. But, so that's pretty much it. We didn't want to include too much, but I mean, this video's already about to hit 50 minutes. So yeah, like I said, I saw stuff like this on Twitter all the time. What's your favorite character? What's your favorite semblance? What's your favorite weapon? What's your favorite fight? Blah, blah, blah. So I was like, you know, Volume 8's coming up soon, because this was originally going to come out at the beginning of November, but I was like, November's going to be busy as it is. Let's do this now. So yeah, that was our, I guess we're going to call this our favorite things in RWBY. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, once again, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, click that like button, share it around with your friends, leave us a comment, let us know your favorites. If you want to list all this stuff in the comment section, let us know who your favorite character is, who your favorite semblance is, weapon, villain, song, soundtrack, volume. Let us know. And also remember, after Volume 8 is over, we're thinking of doing retrospective reactions to Volumes 1 through 6, because for one, they're not on the channel. We would like to do the other volumes, plus Chapter 1 of Volume 7, since we had problems that day that the Volume 7 premiere happened, which, of course, in the original video, I let you all know it was my fault.
Plus, it's good to go back and watch things over again once you've already gotten so far, because then you start picking up on things you didn't notice before.
We will be picking out all the Bumblebee moments.
Yes, but like it's the same thing with anything when you go back and rewatch everything.
And we're going to do it right too. We're going to do the trailers. We're going to do the character shorts. We're also thinking about doing Chibi, because it has been a while since we've seen Chibi. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Please just keep on watching, please. And I'm getting dry mouth. Anyway, this is Cannan.
This is Jessie.
We love you all very, very much. Please take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. And we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.